Hey everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the RZR's top end rebuild. So in this section we're going to be doing the cylinder head, replacing the valves, the valve stems. It's a pretty easy job to do, and there's only one tool that you really need, and that's this guy. This is a valve spring compressor tool. So we've got our exhaust valves, our new intake valves, and our new valve seals. These are for the intake, and the ones without the rubber are for the exhaust. So let's get into this. All right, so basically, take your C-clamp, put your 2 rods in it, just like that. Find the ones that are going to give you enough room to work, and then you're going to want to find the retainer. Now, that one's a little big. Yeah, that one's good. You want the retainer to sit on the top washer piece here. Okay? So the one that has the hole in it, that's for the turning rod. That's the side I put this on. That way, as you're turning it, you're not turning off the valve, you're just spinning up here. And then you just simply, sometimes you gotta adjust it. There we go. Okay, so once you get it onto the top of the seat, then you're going to turn this bottom one in until it contacts the bottom of the spring, or the valve. Okay, I'll turn this around so you can see what I'm doing. Just like that. It's just going to push on the bottom of the valve. Right there. Okay, bring it back around. Just center everything up. Everything looks good. Take your turning rod and tighten this up. And this is gonna push the valve in. It's gonna take pressure off of the keepers, and the keepers will drop out. There it goes. And you don't have to go far. Once you see the keepers here pop out, usually they just fall right out. There's one. And hang on. Should have a screwdriver. Would be easier. There's 2. Okay. Here's your keepers. Set those aside to reuse, unless you have new ones. And now just slowly take the pressure off the spring. There we go. There's your valve spring, your top plate, and your valve. Put your spring and your top plate to the side. I put them all in order so they all go back in the same spot. And push your valve out. And as you can see, the oil here looks like the valve seals were leaking on this as well. You see the condition of this valve. It's not horrible, but the seat, it's pretty bad. So now you're just going to want to repeat that for the other 3 valves. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll go on to the next. All right, now we got all the valves and the valve springs off. Now you just got to get the seals off. Now you can use a pair of pliers. I actually have these cool needle nose that are rounded. You just grab them and twist them off. They just pop right off. That one, and then the 2 exhaust ones come off super easy. Usually the exhaust ones you can just pull off with your hands. All right, and there we go. So it's all torn down. So now it's time to clean. I'm basically just using the Berry Man to start scrubbing everything, letting it penetrate all the carbon inside the valve areas, combustion area, and then just pretty much coat the whole thing in the Berry Man. I do the whole outside. That helps get all the stains off of it. And then once you're let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, take it out, hose it off with the garden hose, scrub it with a sponge, blow it off with the air compressor, and you're pretty much done, and it's clean. And there we have it, our nice clean cylinder head. Got most of the carbon out of there. Got the outside all cleaned up, all the dirt. Nice, looking good. So now the next thing you're going to want to do is, I don't know if the camera's going to adjust, but you're going to want to check your valve seats in here. Okay, make sure that there's no cracks or pitting or anything in the valve seat. And this one looks good. They all look to be in good shape. Some people will say, you know, to grind your valves. Now, you have to look at the valves that you buy, and a lot of manufacturers do not recommend grinding new valves because there's a special coating on the valve here that helps it seal to the cylinder head. So unless you've got real heavy pitting, I do not recommend grinding the new valves. If you were reusing the old valves, yes, grind the old valves and put them back in. But using new ones, we're not going to do that. You can put a little dab of grinding material on the new valve, stick it in and give it a couple turns just to kind of buff this up, and nothing hard. You know, you just want to buff that, but I've done enough of these. These look good. We're just going to install the new valves. All right, so the two, they have the rubber seal. These are the intakes. The ones without the rubber seals, these are the exhaust. Okay, so the exhaust just slides on. Do the other exhaust, slide on, and then you're going to put your two intake ones on. Now these are going to be a little harder, so generally what I do, so basically take your valve spring and push it down, and that's going to seat the seal flush and even. Again, just use your valve spring, put it on top, and push it down. Easy peasy. Seals are in. All right, now that we got the valve seals in, now it's time to put the valves in. And you just grab yourself a valve. And all I do is just take some, doesn't matter, any motor oil, some extra Motorcraft I got left. You're just gonna coat the stem so we don't get a dry start, and install your valve back in. The two larger valves are the intake, and when you go to put it in, it's going to get stuck a little bit. Just boom, that's it. She's in. All right, so now time to put the valve springs back on. It's pretty much just the reversal of how we took it apart. So we're going to put our valve spring on. We're going to put our keeper on. Okay. Oop. Valve wasn't all the way in. It's a little easier too when it's not tilting down. Let me try something here. Yeah, there we go. That'll hold it. Okay. Just gotta pull. Yep. A little bit of a pain in the butt, but you get it. Come on, there we go. There we go, beautiful. All right, so we're just gonna twist this in, make sure it's centered in the middle of our valve. We're gonna install our twisty rod and send her home. Now, basically, you just turn this in. Okay. Keep this kind of centered until you see the little grooves where the keepers come through. And that's on this one. They go down pretty far, especially on the 800. There we go. So just a little dab of grease on each one. And all that's going to do is help hold it to. Plus, this helps too if I'm not working. Just like that. Stick it in. A little dab of grease on the other one. A little bit of grease goes a long way. You may have to pull your tool over to get the second one in. And a little screwdriver helps too. It's just a little pain in the butt, but you'll get them in there. Let's get them around those two little grooves on the valve. There's that one. And there's that one. Okay, now they're around. Now you just slowly take the pressure off and watch those keepers. Make sure they don't pop out or move. But they should just stay right in there. Take your pressure off your valve. Okay. Come on. There we go. Valve spring installed. Okay. Just repeat the process on the other ones. All right, and there we have it. All our valve springs in, all our keepers. The valves are all in. Perfect. So this cylinder head is ready to go back on. And one of the other things I do is you can take some kerosene, pour some kerosene down your intake, and see if your valves leak. And then same thing with the exhaust. You can pour kerosene down here, let it sit, see if anything comes out. And on this one, everything's good. And there we have it. Our cylinder head is done. So part 2 of this series is wrapped up. We're going to be moving on to part 3 next, which is going to be the pistons, the jug, and putting the cylinder head back on the engine. And then part 4, which is going to be the final touches, getting the exhaust and the intake back on. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next one.